I thrive on chaos, which is why I need smart people around me. It's why my wife is very important in this, because I don't think she thrives in chaos. She functions through it, figures out how to solve the problems. I'm the one that's, let's put this stick in the spokes and see what happens.
All right, you all, welcome back to the Necessary Entrepreneur. Today's going to be a fun one because the 10 or 15 minutes of pre-show from the conversation I had here with Eric Bean was just awesome. And yes, we talked about the beard. We talked about him just starting to get healthy and losing some weight. But I'm pumped to talk about all things brewery in the state of Ohio, Columbus, him traveling all over the country, and him thinking he's a cool guy. So we're going to give a little short intro here, and then we'll get rolling. So today we're joined by Eric Bean. He's the co-owner, along with his wife, and brewmaster of Columbus Brewing Company. Alongside his wife, Beth, Eric has helped grow CBC into a cornerstone of Ohio's craft beer scene. Known for award-winning brews like Bodie and Creeper, Eric shares how they balance innovation with tradition, scale a legacy brand, and build a brewery that's as much about community as it is about great beer. Welcome to the party, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a lot of things about beer, but we use the words, but that this brewery is as much about community as it is great beer. Is that true?
I'd certainly like to think so. I mean, my wife and I, we love this city. I mean, we choose to live here. Neither one of us are originally from here. We didn't go to Ohio State, so we both chose to live here. We love it. And when I think about beer, I mean, we really have approached this from day one. I mean, my first brewing gig was under the tutelage of a German brewmaster, and I always think about beer from that sense. And that's, I mean, small breweries in the community, they're just the cornerstone of each city. When you go to a small city in Germany, there's a bakery and there's a brewery, and getting in there and sitting down and having beers. And that's the way we think about, our brand. How do we bring people together?
So what else, if you look at it through the sense of that German brewer, you learned after him, other than the community piece, do you think there was a unique experience versus the vast array of all the breweries that have happened over the past decade? Was there something you learned different under him?
Well, when I look back at that experience, it was just I just happened into that brewery that day and got a job. And I think one of the things he came to me, he told me this is, back in the mid 90s, he said, "Hey, look, this country beer is going to take off." And he's like, "There's some really good brewers, but nobody's trained." And, in Germany, you're going to school, you're getting certification. He's like, "You really should go to brewing school." And so that's what, motivated me. I ended up going to UC Davis for their Master Brewers program based on that job. So I spent 2 years really learning about quality and the history and the art of making beer, and then went, to UC Davis to really sort of hammer down on that knowledge.
Did you think that you were going to be an entrepreneur? Could you have foreseen 10 years later?
Oh yeah, no. That goes back. I think it's genetic. I mean, my dad was a corporate guy, but my grandfather, my uncle were independent businessmen, and that's all my dad wanted to do. But he was doing well, and it was kind of one of those things. When I look at entrepreneurs, it's like, man, the worst thing you can do is start making six figures because you can't take the risk. I was fortunate. I was dumb enough, got a liberal arts degree. So making money was never on my path. So you can take those risks. So that was always, I loved beer, and I was like, oh, wow, how do I do this?
What's the dissemination between the entrepreneurial world that we live in? Yeah, you're brewing beer, but you're running the business. And if we sat and talked about what percentage you were running the business versus getting to brew the beer now, I'm sure it's weighted tremendously. Even though you're brewmaster, I bet your mind is probably weighted a ton on operating and running the business. And tell me I'm wrong if I am.
Oh, no. I would say, 8 years ago, I was 80% beer, 20% running the business. And that wasn't successful. That was, I don't know if you're familiar with the E-Myth, but I was that entrepreneur of, I created myself a job, And I think over the last, it's been a progression, but over that last 8 to 9 years, I'm probably 5% in the brewery. If
Yep.
that, I mean, our director of brewing operations and our director of innovation probably both laugh at that 5% and say it's, maybe 0.5%, but it's good. I trust them. So that's not an issue, which is the key to running the business, is having people you trust.
So if we talk about feelings, it's tough to run business with feelings.
Yeah.
But how does Eric truly feel about that now? Because that's not in line with what people say, find your passion and the rest
Yeah.
will take care of itself. How's
Yeah.
your brain operate in only doing a few percent of the brewery thing, the reason why the passion started?
I'm good with it. I've found a real passion for, I love being around people. So, and I love going to meetings, having conversations, and having that more philosophical standpoint. I mean, I think that goes back to the way my brain's always. I'm curious. I want to grow. So I know beer. I still, I still want to be involved in it. I still ask questions, but I like learning about finance, learning about marketing, talking about sales, running our restaurants. I mean, I shouldn't say me running it, because that's far from it, but working
Operating.
our VP of hospitality, I enjoy working with her and making sure everything's running smoothly. So, I mean, our executive team, it is awesome to work with. That's the difference. Like, back to when was I miserable, and my joke is always just in the dark closet with a bottle of whiskey crying. When did that end? It's when we built this executive team out.
Did you know how to do that?
Oh God, no. I mean, through a lot of trial, a lot of tribulation, a lot of pain, we made some choices. I mean, my wife and I kind of goes back to one day where it was like, oh, we got to do something, and things just fell into place. We, reached out to a financial consultant, and we had an attorney friend who'd been our attorney first, but became a friend. Reached out to her, and it was like, okay. And we kind of, I don't want to say we wrote out the blueprint, but we started that blueprint that took us about 1.5 years to really develop.
How long were you running the business before that happened, when you said some things have to change here?
15, 16 years. I mean, COVID was really hard on our operation. Like every other business. And I think when I look back at it, it's like, okay, I don't regret the choices we made, but they did some harm. And we definitely segregated our business units out, kept people separated, and that created some tension inside the company. People felt, we created silos instead of silos being created. And so coming out of that, we had a lot of damage control to do, and I think we're getting there. It feels really good now.
What's the business because you did all that with the best of intentions. It's funny, out here in this world, they say the road to hell's paved with great intentions. But it's like we were following what the world's rules were, whether we had to or not, whether, it became political, all this stuff. But what do we take away from business of saying, wow, those decisions that were made when we thought we were making the right decisions, how do we look back, and how have you grown from it? How do you think you'd not just approach those decisions, but how do you think you approach big decisions like that differently now? Have you all reflected about that?
Yeah, and I mean, it's a tough one because we put people first. Yeah. And in hindsight, that may not have, I think it was the right decision, but it came with consequences. And, it was draining. I mean, I was daily telling everybody it's going to be okay. We kept everybody on payroll. We even moved people from our tap room, tried to hold on to them. And it was really tough. And, we weren't communicating as well. I think now the communication that we have in the company, we could have moved a lot faster. We were working kind of blindly, and we didn't have all the financial sophistication that we needed at the time.
Boy, isn't that funny that the toughest parts of our business and entrepreneurship, if you fight through it and don't wave the white flag, and you fight and you force your way through it, you look back, we learn tremendous lessons that make us so much better.
Yeah.
But in the moment, man, it feels like it's ending.
Yeah, no, I think, I think about this all the time. I was raised, my parents were, both just incredible people, really smart, hardworking. I didn't know that you didn't have to go to college. I didn't know that you didn't have to work, 80 hours a week. Those were all things that I watched them sacrifice and do. And I just look back and I go, well, yeah, those are lessons. That's how you run a business. And when I look at business, I look at people starting business, they're like lifestyle. Oh, I'm going to put in 30 hours. It's like, yeah, that's going to fail. And when
Why is
people,
that? So we know it, and all the
yeah,
business owners that have been in business for 5 to 10 years know it. But if we're helping, because I want to help this next generation. I mean,
yeah,
if we could like ease everyone's pain a little bit, because if there would have been someone that could have eased my pain, not to say don't do it, right? Not to say it's not worth it, but if they could have eased my pain, man, that sure would have been a little bit better.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know about for you, but looking back, how many pieces of advice did you get over the last 10, 15 years that you're like, oh, it took me, if I would have listened to that
Yeah.
15 years ago, or, oh, that's what they meant. Shit. I
Do
could have
you
turned that corner faster.
do you think that's just who we are because is that why we're entrepreneurs as well? Is that why all these people start businesses? Because we haven't listened to what the world's told us? And so it just comes with the territory?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was told early in my career that I better work for myself because I wasn't very good working with other people. So,
Do you believe that about yourself now? Back then?
um, oh yeah, no, I was a pain in the ass. Yeah, no, I mean, that's why I laugh when I have a difficult employee who's struggling and pushing trying to push buttons. I just laugh and go, yeah, no, I get it. I've been
Yeah.
there. I know you're testing me. And,
Isn't that so good when you actually call that out? I mean, it changes the relationship with that employee.
yeah, no, I think, I mean, it's so hard to have really brutally honest conversations. And I'm not going to tell you I have them every time, but every time you do, you go, wow, so much easier. I mean, holding people accountable, it's all we all want. If we know where our boundaries are, it's easy to work within them.
Why are the brutal, tough conversations, the honest ones, why are those tough? The brutal, honest conversations, why are they so tough?
I think we're all wired for sensitivity. I mean, like I want to please people. I like people. I want them to like me. And I think it makes it tough because you start overthinking what's this going to mean? Are they going to quit? Are they going to start talking about me behind my back? And none of those matter. I mean, if the brutal truth makes somebody quit, that's a good thing. And I mean, not that I want to invite that, but that means it wasn't the right fit. It doesn't make them bad people. I think that's another key message that we've learned over the years. Like, hey, look, it's all about fit and like community. Can we build trust with each other? And that's the hardest part. Once you trust somebody, you can say anything you want.
Do you have a metric for building that trust? Or is it all feel?
No, yeah, no, it's all feel. I mean, I think it's a like when you just know it's there. Just one day, it's just like, oh yeah, that I mean, I think that's how I measure. It's like you just kind of laugh and go, I can't believe we just said that to each other.
And everybody was okay, and you're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, right. Or you can have some tension in a meeting, and you walk out of the meeting, and you go, you're laughing in the break room. It's like, yeah, okay, good. This is how it's supposed to be. Like we're supposed to have tension.
Mm-hmm. The back to I want to talk about the experience with your dad being very successful
Yeah.
professionally, and then your grandpa being an entrepreneur. But one more before we move beyond that. This piece we talked about COVID. Um, I'm assuming you still had to go in. We didn't talk about this,
Yeah.
but I'm assuming you still had to go in every day.
No, so
You
I,
didn't.
I didn't, and that's I don't. So I mean, I have an additional piece. My wife had just finished chemo about 4 months prior to that. She went through breast cancer treatment, and everything's good now. But so we went into lockdown. I mean, her oncologist said, "Hey, look, you're safe. You're in a good place, but." I'm not recommending anybody get COVID, but you're probably at the top of the list of people I don't want to see. So we went into really strict lockdown in our house, and we had our operations manager at the brewery,
So there
and
it
he and
is.
I, yeah,
Okay. Someone still had to go in. That's the point, right? But it
oh
would have
yeah, yeah, yeah,
if she wouldn't have been going through chemo, you all would have been the ones.
oh yeah, no, I mean, I think I don't regret it because I mean, that was too important in my life, but at the same time, it's like that was probably some of the stress that was added.
Yeah.
was that, that disconnect, because we were asking people to come in every day, work in not close proximity, but in proximity of each other. And it's kind of, what message is that like, oh, the office people aren't, but we need you too. But our logic was that, like, we're trying to have as few people in the building as possible.
Yeah. Isn't that a part, like, it's not even the message about COVID. The reason why I tie this in, isn't that just the truth about entrepreneurship and running a business? No
Oh
matter what's
yeah.
going on, someone has to show up.
Yeah, no, somebody's got to be there. I mean, that's where you have to have that trusting relationship. And, I mean, my phone doesn't turn off. I rarely, everybody knows they can get a hold of me. On vacation, I'm trying to learn how to do that. I'm not doing AO. It's like, what's the balance? But I think, we've all gotten better organization. It's like, hey, there is the bat phone, but otherwise don't use it.
Yeah. So why is it worth it then? I could speak on this for an hour, but this is my podcast to highlight what you guys are doing, to talk about you. But so why is it worth it for you and your wife and you and your wife? Why is it worth it to do this then? On the vacations that aren't vacations, the bat phone, even though you've gotten better, I still know that 7 days a week, there's not a day that there aren't multiple moments that your business is not on your mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a blast. I mean, it's that, like, balance between, this is the greatest thing and the worst decision you've ever made. And you gotta go with the good, right? I mean, I could sit and mope and, and I have those days. Let's not pretend like it's all just
sunshine and rainbows, right?
Yeah, exactly. But, it's fun. I mean, you see people, and to know that we've got over 90 employees, and, like, over the time, like, we've got families, and, we have employees with kids going to college. Like, it's exciting. And, certainly we've had some rewards, so I don't want to, I don't want to discount that, but, I could be making a good living working for somebody else, but I find a lot of reward in these pieces of growing the company.
Isn't that the thing, to find the thing daily, whether we're an employee, whether we run the business, that you find something that's rewarding every day. I think this passion's overused, because there's multiple times throughout my day, passion be gone, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And so, but find something rewarding. I know that if I personally get to the end of the day, and even though it was a bad day and things didn't start out the right way, that I kept it together, that we moved some stuff forward, that you helped accomplish the thing, that's rewarding at the end of a really tough day.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just it. It's exciting. It feels good. It's rewarding. You're having a blast, and then you're having a miserable time. But the ultimate piece of it is it feels good. I mean, and I think that's the hard part. That's what you got to fight through in the early stages. Is like, it's exhausting. There's no financial return. There's no nothing. There's just people asking for more of you, and it's like, there's nothing left to give. But then you get past that point,
and you find out there's more to give.
Yeah, well, there's more to give, but it's different. Like, right? I mean, because early on it was physical. I mean, I was spending 7 days a week, 12 hours a day in the brewery, and then kind of going home and, having to think about how we're going to pay this bill, or, we still joke all the time about, at 10, 15 years ago, we would literally put 2 pallets of bottles on a truck to make payroll. I would load up the truck and drive them to our wholesaler and be like, "Can I get a check? I need to get in the bank so we can make payroll tomorrow."
Isn't it so satisfying? We smile and laugh about how do we do it, but isn't it really satisfying to look back on that?
Oh yeah, no, there's some romantic side of how much fun that was. It wasn't at all, but the fact that you can look back and put a twist to it tells you it was fun. It's satisfying. It feels there's a sense of accomplishment. And I think that's the key to being an entrepreneur, is like, how do you find that satisfaction in the small baby steps forward? I mean, sure, the guy who, started a business and got to 10 or $20 million in revenue in year one, those are rare things. That's not real. I mean,
the reason why it's not real, you said it's a unicorn.
Yeah.
And if that's what you're planning on when you start a business, you're going to have a lot of disappointment.
Yeah. No, especially, I mean, if you're not in tech, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, you mean you're not doing AI of beer now? Come on, Eric.
Yeah. No, I wish. I mean, those margins look really good.
Man, I tell you. So why are you guys so good at brewing? Why is the Columbus Brewing Company? Why are you so good?
I mean, that has been, I mean, back to day one, my training with German Brewmaster, going to UC Davis. I spent 5 years with Gordon Biersch, the Brewery Restaurant Group, and just was beaten into me more or less. Quality is number one thing. And that's what we've hung our hat on from day one is quality. We didn't grow as fast because we wanted to maintain, when we couldn't make beer we couldn't control everything inside the beer that we wanted to. I didn't want a wider distribution. I knew we could at least control that piece. So, now we're statewide. We have the technology that we could, I feel comfortable we could send beer all over the country. But we've chosen to just keep our beer within the state of Ohio, maintain those quality regimens. I mean, over invested in brew house, canning technology, laboratory, and people.
There's something special about not getting too big. I don't know what that boundary is yet as an entrepreneur, but
Yeah.
are you going to be satisfied for your entire career? You and your wives, you live it out, whatever that career looks like. Are you going to be satisfied to continue? Because I saw your laboratory online. I
Yeah.
bet there's only a few brewers that are the size of you, and even when you started the laboratory, that are investing that much in that type of science. I don't think that probably happens a ton.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're ahead of our size. I mean,
Yeah.
there's other breweries in the state of Ohio that have as good, if not better, but they're larger operations than us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I joke all the time that my tombstone will just say he tried, and that's that'll be satisfying. It's like we are working hard. I've invested, over the years into this stuff. We make incredible beer. I'm proud of our team, and we're growing still in a really tough beer market. And I think the reason is we're invested on our sales and marketing, but we're not overly invested there. We're probably overly invested on the quality of our beer.
But that can
And
never be
that
wrong, right? That's never wrong.
no, that's exactly. And I think, and it's like, well, that's driving our success.
When tough shows up, that's how you win. Quality's how you
Yeah,
win.
yeah, no, I mean, we had to do this years ago. We went through this big survey process, and the person who ran the survey said, "I don't know if I've ever seen customer feedback like this. Like your brand resonates with trust. Your consumer trusts you." And that was like the most satisfying feedback, is they know when they pick up one of our products, it's going to be a high quality product. And so I can always smile and say, "Hey, I don't like that." It's like, okay, I appreciate that. I have worked for other breweries where it's like, yeah, I know it's not very good. That's not our issue. You don't like it. You don't like beer. You don't like that style of beer. It's not a personal attack that we didn't do something right.
How do you know when you should make a change when you get that type of advice or when you get that feedback? How do we know?
I mean, to me, it's a gut check. It's like, well, did that hurt just because it's ego, or did that hurt because it's true? I mean, that's how I look at it. It's like, I mean, if somebody calls you ugly, it's like, oh, okay, well, look in the mirror. Like, yeah, no, they're right. I'm ugly. So it just hurts because it's true.
Does it feel worse to have someone say your beer doesn't taste good than to say you're ugly?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I mean, my appearance is not, I mean, you look at me. Do I look like I'm too tied to my appearance? So, the beer quality is, I mean, that is, it's all about pride.
Mm. So you said the beer industry right now is tough.
Yeah.
What's Eric and Columbus Brewing do when it's tough? We talked about quality, but what else what'd you learn to do when things get tough?
Well, I mean, I think we just, it's just double down on what we do. I think, I mean, are we pivoting? Yeah. I mean, we're looking at our portfolio, looking at costs. I mean, our CFO has been with us for the last 3.5 years, really, really turned us upside down in a great way. I mean, just absolutely digging under everything, looking at every single input and asking, is it necessary? Is this the best price? So that has helped us, significantly. Our debt load, because that is the hardest part about beer industry. When I look at other industries, I'm like, oh wow, that'd be so nice. You look at a consultant, like you got some laptops. We've got millions and millions of dollars worth of stainless steel in our brewery. It's expensive and growth is expensive. So it's got to be done right. And, the whole industry, there's so much excess capacity in the industry because it was all blue sky. And come 2021, 2022, all of a sudden that blue sky started getting a little more gray. And we've been successful. 23 was the only down year that we've had since we bought the brewery 20 years ago. Last two have been tougher, but we've been growing.
What'd you have to learn new in 23 when you hadn't been through that type of year? What'd you have to learn? Looking back, you're like, oh, I needed to learn that lesson. Other than flipping over the rocks and saving $10 and the CFO, what'd you really have to learn?
I think we had to learn to, you got to stick to your guns. You can't overcommit on things. And I think that was, we kind of bet on this big growth and we overspent on that. And we opened a restaurant. And what did I learn in opening a restaurant? It's as bad as everybody tells you it is. There's nobody hiding behind that. I listened to your interview with Chuck from Dewey's Pizza, and I'm like, man, he sure makes it sound rosy, and they got it dialed in. But it is a tough grind, and the margins, aren't great. And we had built the whole thing. Our LOI was pre-COVID. Our construction doubled. We didn't account for that, and it hurts every month when you make those payments. That debt schedule the old debt schedule would have been a lot sexier.
Would it have been? Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time you spend $100,000 on something, don't you think about like, man, we could have done that with $100,000 instead of just giving it to this thing? Does your brain do that? Mine does it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's my thing all the time. Like, what do you mean we have to do this? That's, I look back, I've made some really expensive mistakes, but it's also why, and I tell our team all the time, I'll make that decision if you need me to, because I'm not afraid to fail. Like, I know I won't make the right one. It's all about pivot. Like, I've made 7-figure mistakes, and you guess what? You've got to figure out how to pay for it. That's what you do.
Yeah. Do you think all these books, you noted the E-Myth, do you think all these books and all the other podcasts in the world, are those helping us level up so we stay away from those 7-figure mistakes? Because I made one, and boy, they hurt.
Yeah.
They hurt because what I look back on, I'm like, why didn't I see that? Why didn't I? I'm so smart, and I'm building and running this business, and we've been this successful. The rest of the world just bows down and says, look what they're doing. And it's like, well, I wasn't good enough to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question. I mean, I think back to like growing up, my dad had on a shelf and a dusty shelf. I don't think he ever read it, but The Pursuit of Excellence. I think it's Tom Peters. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that was about the only book you had out there to help you, get through your business career. And then, I think it was seven habits.
Highly successful people.
Yeah. I kind of feel like that's probably when it kicked off in the 90s. And I'm old enough to go, this is all brand new. I mean, if you're under 30, you think this is always, all this information has been readily available, but it's all brand new. And I love it. I grew up with encyclopedias. I was that nerd who my mom had the encyclopedias that she bought when she was in nursing school, and I sat as a kid and read them. And now I'm like, then it became Wikipedia. And now I'm like, with AI, I'm like, you're telling me I can literally put any question I have in my head and it'll answer it?
You've been waiting for this for 52 years.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, I mean, it's an ongoing joke in the company of like, well, I don't know, Eric's going to Google it and figure it out. It's
isn't that funny? That must be your brand inside the company, what you just said. And that's a hell of a brand to be because that's a guy that figures it out. Man, how valuable is that?
Yeah, no, and I'm surrounded by a lot of other people who are going to do that. And I think that's
well, you're going to give them credit.
Part.
I'm interrupting because you're going to give them credit. But if you're known for that and that's your brand, it's like, man, that is the unlock.
Yeah, it certainly has helped. I mean, I don't really know how to quit. I don't know how to do those things because I should have. I mean, when I look back, I should have probably quit. And I kind of, it's like you hear the stories of people probably not, they graduated from college because they didn't want to call their dad and tell them that they were wasting their money.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly had that story. The same thing. My dad loaned me some money to get when we bought the business. It was like, okay, I'm not going to Thanksgiving dinner and going to tell him that hey, that money you gave me, you're never going to see a dime of it.
It's gone.
Yeah. So, I had those reasons not to quit. Now it's like, it's what you do every day. You do the grind, you figure it out. And I think back to giving everybody credit. I didn't even know I needed it. And when I see it, when I get it, it's like, oh my God, how much easier is my life? Like, I get a text a couple Sundays ago and they weren't requesting my French toast recipe. It was to inform me of some bad news. It was like, okay, cool. What are we doing? They ran it down. I'm like, awesome. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And what a relief that is, instead of like spending my entire day pacing going, well, this is it. This is how we go bankrupt. This is the day.
What do you think your job, my job, our job as leaders, which it's whoever the leader is, whether it's a coach of a team, you're operating and running the business, but the one at the end of the day, the buck stops there. What do you think it's your responsibility in that role?
I'd like to think it's just it's as simple as inspiration. It's not, but I think, it's like, why does a business fail as soon as, our team knows if I'm having a bad day, I don't hide it real well. I don't, it's not terrible, but it's not real well. But like on a day-to-day thing, kind of like just perseverance and inspiration is what drives, I think, the whole company forward. And I would imagine it's in most companies. When the leader buries his head, what else do you have left?
Yeah, usually nothing.
Yeah. No, it's when, and unfortunately, that's when companies really struggle, because who leaves first? Your good employees who could have helped you bail out.
Mm-hmm. I bet you've had to learn that hard lesson.
Yeah. No, we've plenty of lessons. It's been tough. Hiring good people and holding on to them is really tough. And we've sort of run the gamut of them. We've had a lot of good employees who've gone on to other jobs, and it's exciting. I truly mean it. It's tough to see somebody leave, but it's like our job is to help somebody get better at their job, and for us to create an opportunity for them to stay. And if not, should go somewhere else. I think, probably 10 years ago, I had an employee who he was out on paternity leave, and I called him. I said, this is going to be the strangest thing, but I have an opportunity for you. I don't see you moving up in the next year or two. Somebody called me and they're looking for a brewer. Are you cool if I throw your name in the hat? And he's like, are you firing me? I'm like, absolutely not. But I think this could be a significant amount of, money for you. And he took it, and he's since opened another brewery. And it's like, that's awesome.
He loves you to this day.
I don't know. I can't speak for him. He at least will answer my calls.
I can speak for him, because I think this is what I've realized in life. We know the truth. We know. He knows that by you making that call, that was a defining moment in his life.
Yeah, no, I'd like to think that. But I didn't do it. Certainly, and I think that's the key to it, right? You're not doing it because you want somebody to remember you. You're doing it because it's just the right thing. You just you do it, and you figure out, and you pivot, and you move on. And I don't know if that hadn't happened, he'd still be with us, but I'm sure it was a big pivot in his career, and we had to pivot too.
What's it feel like? It's funny. I named my real estate company that, right? It's funny. But 17 years ago, what's it mean even with that word? That's become popular. And I named my company that. Everybody's like, what is that word? I'm like, I think the industry needs to be different. It needs to be 180 degrees completely different from the way it's operating. But how tough is that when you're in the midst of it? Was easy for me to start a company and say that. But how hard is it when you own the thing and you're in the midst of it and you're faced with like, this isn't working?
Yeah. I'd like it to be harder, but I thrive on chaos, which is why I need smart people around me. It's why my wife is very important in this, because she she I don't think she thrives in chaos. She functions through it and figures out how to solve the problems. I like to stir the pot, and she can help kind of keep things orderly and kind of sweep up. Though that's not really that's probably not the best way to describe it, but it's keeping things together because I'm not afraid. I'm the one that's let's put this stick in the spokes and see what happens.
Yeah, is that what is thriving in chaos? What's that mean? Let's help all the 90 employees of your company that you're not having to look at them so they can just listen to this little snippet what is Eric, what is it thriving in chaos? What is that?
Well, it's just it's just like, okay, we got to do this quick. Let's solve problems. And it's like when you create that chaos, you got to quickly figure out how to solve it. It's like you jump in a big, deep pond of water. You got two choices: figure out how to get out of it, or you drowned. And I don't like. I'm not sure being my world of chaos is something I should take pride in, but it's kind of my reality.
Is it because you just jump in? Is that what causes the chaos? You're just like full steam ahead. Let's go. We'll figure it out.
It can be. I think I can. I'm still fairly cautious with it, but I will get there. I'm not necessarily head first, but I am going to jump in. I'm going to think about it, and maybe that's a little bit of the difference. Is like other people see it as chaos, and I've spent the last 3 mornings at 3 a.m. working through this, and I'm like, okay, I can't see where this goes, but I can see it's going somewhere. Let's try it.
And that you're confident that we'll figure it out.
Yeah. I think that's the difference maker of forget job title. Like, what does an executive do? Executive figures it out. That's the difference maker between, that's probably more of like the difference between a manager and a leader. A leader helps people figure out how to get there.
What's your guys' approach to developing talent, developing employees versus finding somebody talented from the outside?
That's we've done both, and both, we've failed at both and been successful at both. I think one of the things we found, on the brewing process, we found that bringing people in from the outside can create a little more tension than we want because we have a very defined process. It's, we've worked hard on it. We've had people who have built all of our processes to be able to make our product exactly the same every time. And so, we've learned we're better off kind of, not always, but for most roles, entry-level roles, let's just bring in somebody fresh and green. So, I think we've learned that. We try and train people best we can, get them education. So I think that works. Internally, a more leadership, I think that's an ongoing thing. We have had to learn this stuff on the fly very quickly. And, back to the, career, the word leadership has always been used, but you didn't use leadership in a business setting 10 plus years ago. It's very a new thing of talking about that and what that means. And I think, we're learning how to do that, how to train people. And I come from a bad line of having to learn it on your own. So I'm not a great teacher on that. It's hey, here's a book, see if it helps you.
Isn't it kind of solve problems and treat people well?
Yeah, no, it is. I think that's, that is I'd like to think we treat people well. I know, there's a reality, and it's tough on this because there are people who do these interviews and they talk about and they paint everything's perfect. I make mistakes every day. I have regrets in conversations. I try and apologize, but sometimes they're so egregious. Hey, I can't even apologize for that.
There's a few out there. You throw my name out there. There's a few that they're like, that guy.
Yeah.
That guy. Well, I didn't know. You got me on my bad day. I didn't know. I did the best I could, and it wasn't good enough then.
Yeah. No, I was at an event it's probably been 8 years ago, but I was at an event and the guy was a volunteer at our table, and I made a comment, and I was like, the asshole of our company, the asshole owner of our company doesn't let me do stuff like this normally. And he goes, yeah, I've heard he's an asshole. And I go, it's true. It's absolutely true. And then he found out later who I was, and he's apologized. I'm like, no, it's okay. Like
Yep.
I mean, whoever told you that had that experience with me. I'm not necessarily proud. I don't take glory in having that reputation, but I can I can definitely rub some people the wrong way,
Yeah.
and that's just life.
I think the caring part is every time something like that happens, I don't necessarily believe them in their opinion, but I do bring it in to evaluate it. I
Yeah,
think that's what I'm
yeah.
better at now.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good way of putting it. I mean, just just like any you when you have a retrospective, you think back on a conversation, like, man, I should have said that differently. I know my point was valid, but if I had said that differently, we could have ended the conversation there, and we all could have moved on instead of ending in tears.
Instead of the guy at the table's like, yeah, I heard he's an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, what your dad was really successful, and it's so ironic that this came full circle. And we'll jump off here in a few minutes because I
Yeah,
want you to come down from Columbus and come in the studio, and we'll talk about all the things because beards are valued here. I don't have one,
yeah,
but they're valued when they come through here. It's so funny that your grandpa and people you knew, your uncles, were entrepreneurs. Then your dad probably made six figures, so he made too much to leave, the golden handcuffs, even though it probably wasn't the most satisfying career. But when you went to start the business, he lent you money.
yeah. Oh
What do
yeah,
we do with that whole cycle?
that's how I mean, creating opportunity. And that's what my dad did for me. I mean, it's like I I was scrapping trying to figure out how to do this, and he always said he would help me, but I had like, I mean, this opportunity came up a kind of overnight, and it was like he got there and helped me out, and we figure how to jump into this business, and had great partners who, I mean, we initially bought 40% of the business, so kind of I had that, like, that incredible opportunity that is more or less the American dream, right? I mean, how do you get into business? I mean, sure, there's people that absolutely bootstrap it, take their paper route to their lawn mowing business, to maybe becoming a bartender, to owning the bar. But how do you really get by? Somebody's got to help you along the way. And I was very fortunate that my parents from the get go, they helped me. We lived in a pretty conservative, yet my parents were like, go do what you want to do. I mean, when I think back and realize what my parents let me do, I mean, we started the conversation before we were recording with your Jerry Garcia reference, but like, I was 16 years old and my parents let me get on a bus and go to Philadelphia to go see the Grateful Dead. Just disappeared for 2 days, and it was like that changed everything in my world. It was like, and I look back and realize, yes, that it's like I walked into this community, I'm like, oh, I love these people, this is great, and my parents just didn't even bat an eye. Like, yeah, go for it, go do it. This is what you want to go do, have fun, and now I tell my wife it's not my fault. It's the last 35 years of my life have been dedicated to this band for one reason. It's all my parents' fault.
Isn't that funny? Even though I didn't know you were a Grateful Dead fan,
Yeah,
we tell the world who we are when we show up,
yeah,
right? I just felt it. I'm like,
yeah.
dude, you're invoking. So know it. I think we should be who we want to be, but take responsibility for that's what we're telling the world.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I tell our staff all the time. I'm like, look, I look like a jackass, but I've earned it. Like,
Yeah.
there was a period of my life where I was pretty cleaned up and trying to play the corporate part, and it only lasted a couple years, and probably in the middle of all of that, I had a couple of people have conversations with me like, hey, like, you're not really looking the part, and I've earned the ability to kind of, it's like I could get away with this in my early 20s, and in my early 30s is I haven't shaved in 20 plus years, and I've earned the ability to do that. But I have to be aware. I mean, I know when I work on I was at an event last week with a buddy, tight little corporate environment. I know everybody's looking at me.
I
But
think it just be see. I think what we're misinterpreting the word authentic in 2025. Everybody's like, "Well, I want everybody to be authentic." It's like, hold on, I don't think you really want everybody to be authentic, because if we were authentic about what we felt about everybody, about the world, we'd have a lot of conflict. But I think the authentic is just tell me who you are.
yeah,
Just tell me who you are. It's up to you if you want to. Just tell me who you are and what we're dealing with, so I can decide, do I want to work with you? Do I want to have a friendship with you? Do I want to – just let me know. And I'm not going to judge you, but just so there's no bullshit going on around here.
yeah, no, I think it's that hardwiring part that you just got to figure out, like, do people want to get shit done? That's,
Yeah.
that's a core value for us, is getting shit done. And it's like, to me, that's our number one hiring thing. And when I look around our company, I always joke, but I don't have to be part of, HR doesn't have to be part of getting people who don't want to work out. Our staff does. If you show up and work the canning line and you don't want to work, they're not going to tolerate it for very long. They're going to let you know you're not very welcome. And that's there. It's hard. You can miss that in an interview, but you can't hide that for very long once you're on the job.
Well, I could talk to you forever. We do have to get you down here, but one final one here. Everybody should go out. I watched a video before the interview you all have out on YouTube. I think you can find it on your website, but it's a good video, about 3 minutes long, 3.5 minutes long. It's you and your wife, but it's just talking about the business and about the journey. It's a good video if you want to get to know who you guys are. It's a cool video. But what question are you trying to answer right now? What's the question?
Wow, you know what? I don't normally get stumped. I think on a personal level, what does the future look like me? I'm at like that not turning point in my career, but it's like, what's the next step for me? The day to day, how do I hand that off and get much more involved in the future of the business? And I think, that's that next step in the business. Like, I've gone from Brewmaster to day-to-day president. How do I get to that next step of really driving that long-term vision of the company, making sure are we pursuing the right opportunities? So I think that's what I'm really focused on, is how do we get the company financially healthy, and how do I get to a place where I have the freedom to grow the business to what it's really, the real potential. And that is, to me, that's that entrepreneurial step. And, everybody, it's really hard to get out of the day to day. How do you, and I'm sure you're the same way in the real estate. It's like you're hustling and putting out fires. And how do you get from that to just being able to foresee the fires and navigate people around them?
I think you figured it out. Finding great people and empowering them, and then you can be above it all and you can really help them build and grow the business.
Yeah, it sure doesn't hurt it.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, man. Columbus Brewing. If you go through the city, the great city of Columbus, I'm kind of partial to our Cincinnati down here. I'm kind of partial to Northern Kentucky, but I'll let y'all think your flatlands are valid. I'll let you think that. I got to get a little dig in there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It was much nicer than my digs on Cincinnati. And
go ahead, bring the Cincinnati heat. Go ahead, come on, give us the end of this.
I will not go there because I want to sell a lot of beer in Cincinnati. So I love Cincinnati.
Thank you for joining us. Hey, what's the quick plug for finding you guys? I talked about your video, but what's the plug? Just one place, one location to come and check you guys out.
Yeah, I think Columbus Brewing Company, or ColumbusBrewing.com is there, and we've got a fantastic restaurant on the east side of town that I think, beautiful building, beautiful, great space, incredible beers on tap. So I invite everybody to come join us there, or just find our beer in local grocery store.
You're the man. Thanks for joining us, man.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Mm-hmm.